So what we have done so far yesterday was that some introduction about JavaScript, and I did that in the CSS demo. Yes, in the CSS demo page where I try to explain that how the JavaScript works, and today what we will actually explore is that the rest of the part that let me start with the register.jsp. And there is something called tag library in in JSP. Tags, when I say tag, what do you understand? HTML is a tag, right? You see here, meta is a tag, title is a tag, JSP is a tag. So, I am introducing a couple of things. One is jQuery. jQuery is a JavaScript library. Whenever you see something with, starting with $, that actually means, general notation is that it represents a JavaScript library and particularly jQuery. Before I come there, let me show you the form. And there is some username logic. Maybe I can skip that. In this case, we are having the username as first property. Let's look at the form. Now, there is a table. Okay, the body has a table. I fixed the width 960 pixels, and then I have the one table row. Just I distributed the particular page into three different parts. Okay, how? My goodness, there's so many things here. Let's look at this particular, not the gallery, officeweb / register. See, the header part is one, okay, rest of the contents, and then goes a footer as well. Okay, so that's how the three different parts. So first, one tr that has just three different rows, each one having one column, a simplest way of it. Okay, so I'm including the header here, header.jsp, and then next I have my body. Next tr td, I am actually defining the form body. And here I explained earlier that there is something called form, and we looked at individual fields before, but now I'm doing in a little different way. There's something called see, field set defines a form control group. Field set means that you can group some of the input fields into one. So I used field set, and then there is something called legend. Legend defines a label for set of form fields. Now employee registration. Now look at this. Employee registration, right? So that's actually, it comes in a legend, and the for field set, you see here I have a border around, right? So I have a border around all the properties together. It is everything, all the properties are in a box. Let me kill this. Okay, so that is about the legend. And then I want to display any error messages that that can occur. I want to display them. So I have a div tag. Okay, and here I'm saying request.get attribute error. If there is anything there, that means that if it is not null, then I'm printing out there. That is the reason when I use the same variable name, second time, Charles, the username, then we got a uniqueness error. So this is to display the error. What I'm doing is simply, this is a JavaScript scriptlet, JSP scriptlet, and I'm just getting, from the request, seeing whether I have any error here, and displaying there. And how am I populating the error? See here, in case of an exception, I am actually setting request.set attribute error e.get message. Right? So that's how I'm doing it. I have a div tag for it. Then I start my actual form. See here, what I did is paragraph. I started one paragraph and I say label. Label is again another HTML element. You look at the tooltip there. Defines the label for a form field. I can say that, instead of using a table structure, that the way we did, in the login page, where we actually placed the label in one TD and actual input field another TD and one at TR. Okay, in a TR. Let us look at that login.jsp. Perfect. See here. Okay, this also. Okay, I modified this one as well. Fine. I modified this one as well. But then, okay. So, okay, that's there in a different page maybe. The table that we have in the CSS. Fine. I'll discard that for now. So what you can do is, we have this label. The label is another HTML element. Okay, label for, and here I give the input field name. Input field name. What is the input? What is, label for what? This is the label. I'm saying username. Okay, and this is label for input field called username. Okay, where is the username? Input name equal to, see here, input name equal to username, and ID also I gave as username. Value, see here, there is some small magic here. I used a ternary operator here, saying that I'm checking request.get parameter username. If it is null, then empty. This is empty. Within the double quotes I have single quotes and empty space. Okay, and if it is not null, I want to display the existing whatever value is there in the request. This I'm actually putting this value. Please understand this logic. I'm actually putting this value logic just to fill the values again. Let me run this. Test one. See here, there is an error here, and in case of error, I want to retain all my data. Okay, so that is a purpose I'm actually having. You look at this, username is there, first name is there, whatever I entered, user need not enter again. User only can fix the particular error. That is, as per the message, right? So, and I'm not getting it for email, that means I need to fix. So to get the value like that, but if I'm actually like, when I hit the URL first time, okay, and okay, when I hit the URL first time, here I'm somehow it's refreshing, reposting again, but when I run the URL first time, see, I don't get any data, right? Pre-filled data. Only in case of an error that happens because of the user input. So I need to pre-fill the data so that user can feel comfortable. You can only fix the error instead of filling, So suppose if I have, say, suppose 10 or 20 fields or more than that, and user has to start everything. He did a small mistake, but then if he has to fill all the properties once again, all the input fields once again, it is not a fair deal. So that's the reason what I'm doing is I'm actually using request.get parameter, but if I just keep this one alone, just request.get parameter, what is happening is when you do first time, this value will be null. So the value null is getting printed there. To avoid that, what I'm saying is, if the value is null, then empty string. Okay. If not, then put the actual value that is there in the request. And you cannot do that for the password and confirm password. The user is forced to do that himself. User is forced to do that for himself. And let me do this for email. Okay, when I do this for email, and sometimes these validations irritate. When we know that we are just testing, and this we put the validations. This is full name. I don't remember. Okay, let me do this. Now the email ID should be persisted. See here, email ID also is coming back now. The reason why this is coming is because of this small snippet that I used. Okay, and then goes date of birth. See here, date of birth label for DOB, birth date. Birth date is a label, and the input field name I am using is DOB, date of birth. Okay, and here I did not do anything. It looks like a plain input field, but such as here I am getting, if I just click on in the input field itself, I get the date picker pop-up. Or you can even click the icon, you get the date picker. So how that magic is happening is, I'll show you that in a moment. And then goes, there are a couple of properties, the drop-down values. Okay, the drop-down values are coming dynamically from the database. Department and designation. So these two things are coming from the database. So how they are coming? What I'm doing is, in case of a get request, okay, in the first time when the form is loaded, I am calling a private method called populate data, and here what I'm doing is request.set attribute. I'm setting this departments and designations into the request as an attribute, and from the database values. So from get, we looked at this yesterday. We are querying the database, creating a map of ID and value, and integer and string, and then setting this onto the request. And now this is where I wanted to introduce you to tag libraries. So tag is nothing but, whatever I am doing, P paragraph or label or input field, all these things are tags, right? So now there are two ways. What you can do is, if I want to create a dynamic page, dynamic content, one option is that you write everything in a JSP scriptlet. You write everything in a JSP scriptlet. Now, I'll show you that particular part. Okay, let me redo this. I'll delete this after that. But okay. So now what I can actually do is, percentile. Now what I need to do is map of integer comma string departments equal to request dot get attribute departments. So this is a wrong bracket. I need to typecast because that gets stored as an object. And I need to include the map. Oops. I was supposed to, in the top, click here import java.util.star, right? So the error is gone. Okay, so what I need to do is department. I can pretty much use iterator departments dot get key set. Okay, so set of integer is equal to perfect. And now I don't need the tags now. IR equal to keys. Okay. Has next. While it has next, what I want to do is append okay. Now the IR ID. Okay. Then what I need to do is close the bracket. Then I need to write this again. I need to write what departments dot get ID. Then goes and close this as well. Next. Okay. Let's see the response of this particular page. This particular logic. Let us see. See here. I got the same thing here, right? Okay. I got the but they are duplicates. That's interesting. Only this in this case. So there is some bug with my logic. There is some bug with my logic. Why do you think it is printing 2 times? But my focus is not that. So what I can do is I can write this many lines, okay, and I can print the values. I can create the output. So this, when compared to this, what is it? When compared to this, sorry. Oh, okay. Why the duplicate values are coming is because of this. I copied that, complete string, and let me see. That input field, I'm getting it in the regular way, my way, as well as other way. Okay, and somehow there is some bug. I did not close something properly, so the values are printed. And I did not close the select box. That's the reason. I mean, I closed it, but now when I deleted some code, it's gone. See here? Yeah, that's perfect. So there is actually what you can experience is that some kind of pain while doing this. Okay, so to save time, and what we can actually do is that, in JSP we have something called tags. JSP tag libraries is what we call. We can write that kind of Java code into. I'll give that tag library introduction maybe tomorrow. But at the outset, what I want to communicate is that this kind of writing your custom Java code in every JSP is difficult. Suppose if I need to show the same the drop down and say suppose in maybe in 5 or 10 JSP pages, I need to put this logic in everywhere, right? So that will be difficult. To avoid that, we have tag libraries in JSP, and now I'm using some a core tag library, and I'll show you what this is. I have here, see here, it says less than % tag lib, okay, prefix equal to C. So that actually starts with C. The tag starts with C. Now here, see, C colon for each. So that tag, this this while logic, I wrote that is a while, but you can do that in a for each model as well. So they created a tag, there is a tag C colon for each, and it works like this. And items, and look at this, pay bit attention to this. This is called, I think JSP expression language. So JSP EL, okay. When I do like this, what happens is that it fetches this particular key from the request.get attribute, and it will do departments, whatever value is that will come into this for each, and then that will browse through. See here, I am giving the variable name as option, and option.key, option.value, and it looks like pretty much like an HTML, and plain 3 lines, whereas it took for me more lines, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 lines. Okay, what I wrote is 9 lines, but then here we are able to wrap it to 3 lines, and that includes some of it is mostly this option value. This particular thing is HTML. Only thing is this part, and this part, that is dynamic. That gets iterated through the particular collection that we have in the request variable, right? So the same logic holds good for department and designation, and that's how we are able to make the Office web registration page. So and then what we have is, maybe you can log in. Let's see how the login works. The forget password logic I did not introduce, but I just kept it there. Test one. Oops, that's a blunder. You are able to log in, but how can I leave the username as input type equal to password, and I use the same name for multiple things, there's always small confusion. Come on. Yeah, this is password now. So now what we are able to do a registration page or like, maybe what we will do is let's try to add a link. Href equal to register click oops so now it should look a bit interesting. See here. Okay, so the flow, the idea of a web application always should, we should focus on the continuity of the flow. And see here, the stupid bug that is there. And why do you think this bug is there? Now this drop down is not having the values. That is crazy. Why? Why is that? Public data is called, the stupidity of my code. See here, should be populating. I think the application need to reload and then only it will work. Fully I have the data now. See here, yeah, that's perfect. And small UI bug is I need to leave space between words. So come back, refresh. Yeah, click and here there was link was missing. Right? So I can now also pretty much check test one imperfect. This is good work. So and the styles look better. Okay. Thanks Jimmy for this. You placed into tables and that's good. So you have any questions on this, team? I made the code myself, so I made it in the faster way. I mean, just to save some time because we have few more days left, maybe 4 more classes, or maybe 4 more classes, or 5. So just to save some time, what I did is that I wrote a servlet called registration servlet, and here I mentioned everything to, and I mean I populated data in the sense I have some drop down values that need to get data from the database. So I populated that and forwarding it to the register.jsp. Here what I'm doing is model view controller logic is that I place all the JSPs, all that whatever JSPs I want to secure. I don't want to expose the JSP directly. Suppose what happens is if I expose the register.jsp directly, and that guy will not see the drop downs populated data at all, because register.jsp is incomplete without the dynamic data from the database. So that I can actually only do from servlet. I mean, I can pretty much write the code, in the JSP, write JDBC code and get the data and do it, but that is the stupid way of doing it. We should never write any complex logic in the JSP pages, but many people do, especially students, though I have been experiencing it, so that is the reason I'm actually telling you. So model view controller, servlet is the controller in the simplest way, the model that we are implementing. If you understand this logic, believe me, I mean, it's very, very easy to understand other frameworks. I mean, because most of the people having maybe 5 years 10 years experience also, they may not understand how we can really implement model view controller design pattern using with simple servlet and JSP. Okay, there are various frameworks, something like Struts framework, the Spring MVC, those frameworks actually they make some part of the work easy and they provide additional functionality such as, but to build a simple application you don't need complex frameworks, because if I need to do a small activity and if I introduce a complex framework, then you need to actually try to understand, you need to understand the framework. There is a steep learning curve involved in learning any framework, and whereas the requirement is small, so you can pretty much live with your own solution. So the model view controller logic, what I'm actually trying to say is that you have your servlet, user always hits a servlet, okay, and in the servlet you do whatever logic you want to do and then finally ask JSP to render the UI, right? And the JSP again to submit the data, it will submit to another servlet. I mean for the same, it could be to the same servlet, here do post and do get. First time when the page is loading, do get. And in the register.jsp, the form, the method is post. So then the do post method gets called. And here what I'm doing in the do post method, I'm reading all the values from the request. Okay. And here the password and confirm password, I'm actually doing the validation in the JSP itself. The jQuery validation is working. So I'm actually not doing much here, but I left it as a placeholder. In case if the browser validation really did not get triggered and the value comes to the server, I want us to stop the registration and show an error, something similar to this one. We need to actually do something like here instead of e.get message, rather I need to put my custom message saying that your password and confirm password are not same, please try again. Okay. And I need to put exactly same thing, take this and put this into this block. I can put the message, I need to change this particular thing, password and confirm password are not same, please try again. Okay. So other thing that what I did is that there are so many properties, so I wrapped them into a bean, Java bean. I created an object called user, okay, and the user has these properties. This is kind of replica for your employee table. Rather, I think this should be named as employee, but I went by the notation that I used in my other project. So I created a user object, and then I created an object for the register DAO, and then I'm sending this user bean to the register DAO, and rest is same. This is what we have been doing in the JDBC. We really explored JDBC to the maximum extent. So I have a prepare statement, and then I have this query, insert into employee and some question marks, and then set the values. Registration is done. If registration is successful, what I have is I'm actually sending this. I'm sending to the home page, and the home page there is no logic here, but empty page. So that is the reason after if registration is successful, I'm going to empty page, empty white page. So here the assignment that we can take up is that what we could do is edit profile. I can give a link to edit profile, and or you can you can give a link to edit profile, and when he clicks on it, we should be able to edit and store the data back. Store the data back to the database. Changes to the data. Whatever we did is, in case of a register, it is about creating data, insert query, and in case of login, you are getting data, so you are retrieving data, right? CRUD. And other things that we have is update and delete. Update means like this is what edit profile. Edit profile, let's have a page, and maybe that you can take this as an assignment. You can do this, if you are doing it, do this in the same project, I mean, not in a different folder, but in the same style. You create a update profile, update profile servlet, and create, instead of register page, you have a profile.jsp, and then you do a similar logic, but then you have to make sure that the particular same user is updated, and also the username should not be editable. Okay, username should not be edited. Username should be a label, or it can be a hidden field as well. So we need to write, instead of insert query, update employee, set this value, set all the values into the new values, where username equal to this, whatever username, logged in user. Okay, so that's the next assignment. So if you guys are interested, you can please do that, and we'll see that tomorrow. And model view controller, I hope I made it a bit clear, you are understanding it. And the benefit of it is that the Java code lies in the servlet, and JSP takes care of only presentation. Okay, so that's it for today. So till we have tag library related discussion, and maybe we can discuss little bit about the jQuery libraries, how it is working, and how you can actually clone this into other projects, right? And we also see edit profile, JSP tags, model view controller. We'll do a little bit more discussion, and see how it really goes. Based on the bandwidth, we will do more. But that's what is going to be in the class. So any doubts?